the tools to reach your marketing goals, whether that's specific to traffic or conversions or tracking and reporting on your progress, that type of thing. So jumping right in. Now, if you just cringed a little bit when you saw those words, chances are you probably received some sort of email that's promising you page 1 rankings or some sort of similar spam email of that sort. You probably all receive them. But the truth is, with SEO, when it's done right and you put in the time and effort, you can really see some remarkable differences in your total site traffic and conversions, and can really turn things around from a marketing standpoint. So I wanted to talk about a couple of plugins related to SEO. First of all, if you aren't currently doing any SEO, not to try to sell you or anything like that, but it is extremely useful, especially from a website marketing standpoint, because it is free, as in there's no direct cost. You're not paying by the click. You're not, like a print ad. You're not paying any advertisers or anything like that. The clicks that you receive on your organic listings don't cost you anything. I have free in quotations because, of course, there's an opportunity cost to anything. So anytime you spend on this, obviously you can spend other things, but if you're doing it right, this is something that's generates positive ROI. Extremely qualified leads. So these are people who are already searching for you or your product or your service. So they're generally already kind of lower in the buying funnel. These are completely trackable. So again, unlike more traditional media or marketing like print ad or billboard or things like that, we actually know if you have a sale through the website, which channel they came through. So we know if they came from organic search, or we know if they came from a specific email blast, something like that. And then lastly, you don't need a huge budget to find success when you're working in SEO. Again, if you put in the hours, you make great content and really put forth the effort, then you can build a really strong, authoritative site that can outrank some of the competitors with the larger budgets. And last of all, like I said, it works. So a couple plugins specific to SEO. Chances are, if you have a WordPress site and you've heard of the topic of SEO, you've heard of probably one of these two plugins. They have a lot of overlap in terms of features and functionality. So I will take you through Yoast. That's the one I use pretty much exclusively, but I have spent a lot of time with All-in-One SEO Pack, which is also a great plugin. Like I said, they have a lot of overlap. So I'll take you through Yoast, and then at the end we'll do kind of a side-by-side comparison so you can see for yourself basically how they stack up. So I'll just jump out real quick and switch over to my own site. So Yoast, it installs some, a lot of functionality. Did I lose you on this? Is that specific to one screen? This is something that a lot of people haven't heard of, but it's something that you're probably seeing the effects of all the time. And I also want to just touch on a couple plugins that I've already mentioned and what they're doing on this front, and a couple others, and just showing you exactly, from a marketing standpoint, the benefits of what this is doing for you and your brand. So structured data, basically what it is it's code that gives machines a more human-like understanding of your content. So what that means is if Googlebot crawls your page, they see all this code. They see heading tags, they see paragraph tags, they see text and numbers. That's about the most of their understanding of your content. They read it, but they don't really know what it is. By incorporating structured data, that's basically marking up the code with things that says, okay, this heading is actually the name of a product. This image is actually the image of said product. This block of text is a description for that product. These numbers are the price of said product. And again, it builds that semantic web of information. So it really helps them really understand your content, gives it a little more authority, gives it a little more relevance, helps across the board, and as we'll see, helps makes your search results a little more visual and eye-catching for users. This actually is responsible for Google Knowledge Graph, and that's something, again, that you've probably seen but haven't probably given a whole lot of thought. So that's, let's see. So I'm sure you've seen a whole lot more things appearing in your search results. So an example here for movies, they'll show you the entire cast across the ribbon. You can see all this stuff. Along the side, you can see things from Wikipedia, from YouTube. You can see all sorts of information on movie. You don't even have to click on a single result, maybe to get the answer you're looking for. This is Google's knowledge graph. And it's made possible because certain sites like IMDb have structured data on their site. And now Google is able to crawl sites like that, see this web of information. They can see Al Pacino here, and then they can crawl that and see that, oh, he's also been in this movie, this movie, this movie, and he's also, people search for these things, and all sorts of information, his height, for some, whatever. That's all because pages are marked up with structured data, so that gives Google the ability to see all of that information. I'll just say the summary. It also generates rich snippets. So that's what I was talking about as far as making your search results more eye-catching. So here's an example of a product listing that you might have seen something similar, and you can see the star rating, 4.7 out of 5. You can see the number of reviews, and that is the product structure data located on that web page that makes that possible, and that obviously makes your listing compared to those that don't have that a little bit taller, and gives you those stars that are a little more eye-catching. So even if you don't outrank someone, you can still get more clicks than them because they're a little more drawn towards your search result. Now this varies by the type of post or page, but here's an example of an event. And you can see here that with the structured data, that's actually really significantly increases the size of your listing. It can actually show you some dates as well as the locations. And not only does that make your listing take up a lot more space in those search results, it also gives you 3 more links to your site, which is extremely useful for increasing your click-through rates. And then lastly, here's an example, for recipes. You might be able to see the rating reviews, but also prep time and the number of calories. There's all sorts of things that are pulled into here, just made possible from incorporating structured data into your site. So the 4 really plugins I'll touch on, obviously Yoast and All-in-One, which we've already talked about, have some elements just out of the box, like we saw with the organization. When Yoast asks you to choose between company or person, it is building in what's called the organization structured data into your site. Woocommerce, right out of the box, sets you up with the product structured data that you would need to generate those types of rich snippets. And then a 4th plugin, also made by All-in-One, is all-in-one schema.org rich snippets. And what that'll do is give individual posts the ability to specify if it's an event. If you have an event page on your site, you can select an event, and it'll give you the ability to mark up your site appropriately to generate that type of thing, and a number of other items. And just real quick, schema.org is, not to get too much into the technical stuff, but it is a vocabulary of structured data, basically. And it's significant because it is an agreed upon vocabulary between Google, Bing, Yahoo, and Yandex. And that's pretty rare for them to actually come together and agree on a standard of some sort. So there's obviously other kinds of vocabularies that work into this and data types, but that's generally the recommendation if you're kind of exploring what kind of code to use on this. But let's just jump out and kind of show you some of these. Google has a very useful tool for what we're talking about called the Structured Data Testing Tool. And we'll see here, I'll just take my, and you can actually just test, as you're incorporating these things, and you can see through the eyes of Google what they're seeing on your site, make sure it's all working properly, and seeing how they're parsing it out. So just with Yoast on this site, and you can also do, if you're working offline, you can plug in raw HTML, I'll still show you that. So you can see over here on the right, they have website and organization. So Yoast specified that my site is indeed a website. And it tells them that, the URL, the name of the website, some search type things here, but it's just kind of a general bit of code that they add just by default, but they also specify it as an organization. So that tells me, and this is where we see those social profiles I mentioned, same as Facebook, same as LinkedIn, same as Google+, same as my Twitter, name of the site, and the location of the logo. So this is, again, where things like the knowledge graph, if you're nerdy and you have a lot of time on your hands, you can do stuff by yourself. But this is where it actually shows like my social profiles, things like that. But so by specifying that same as property, you can give people a little more information if they give you branded search. So it can really enhance your branded searches and things like that. Again, like I said, gives a little more trust and authority in your site, and getting a little more specific. If you're doing some hard coding on your site, especially if you have a local business with that physical address, there's all sorts of schemas. If you go to schema.org, you see all the different things. They have basically a vocabulary for any type of business that you might run. So, for example, if I'm a bakery, there's ones that's specific to a bakery. If I were to add this code into the site, it would tell them exactly where I was located, which helps for local SEO. It helps Google trust where I am, which is important to them. Obviously, they want their engine to be as accurate as possible, that type of thing. And then Woocommerce. Now, obviously, this test site that I set up real quick is not Woocommerce compatible, so pardon the formatting. I just installed that on the site and just did this test page. But out of the box, you'll see exactly what that's doing for us for this page, what reader is actually seeing. So again, website, this site has just all-in-one SEO pack installed, so they just have the website that they provided. Product, so this is telling them exactly the location of the image of the product, name of the product, description, product number. It's also telling me, this is for the rating stars that get pulled in those rich snippets. This is telling Google exactly what the aggregate rating is, the number of ratings, the price of it, so we can show that. It actually marks up the reviews, the number of reviews, that type of thing. So WooCommerce just by default gives you these tools on your product pages, which is excellent. And then lastly, the all-in-one schema.org rich snippets plugin. I'll show that at work. I think I have that below somewhere. Here we go. So this is another test page, and we'll say that this is an event. They also give you the option right here when you install this this plugin to choose, if this page is about an item review, about a specific person, you can say bio page, a product, recipe, all of these items. But we can actually generate rich snippets based on this information. So this is obviously for tonight's event. I set up and filled out the fields, start date, end date, price, currency, if you want to buy tickets, that type of thing. So it gives me this page here. And then again, if I plug that in to the testing tool, as we saw earlier, now this gives me an event. So it tells me to start. It's telling Google, locations, street address, city, code, all the pertinent information. So it has all those tools to generate more rich snippets for a more visible, visual, I should say, search results that generate more clicks, or more traffic to your site, and hopefully more conversions.
Is that a WordPress plugin with rich snippets?
It's called all-in-one schema.org rich snippets. Yeah, really a mouthful for a name. But that's it. So again, like I said, all the plugins I mentioned, all-in-one, Ghost, WooCommerce is free with the basic version. But yeah, like I said, these are all plugins that I use daily in optimization and helping people with marketing goals, as well as other fun stuff. So that's all I have. Yeah.
repeat the name of the vocabulary? What was the,
Schema.org, schema.org.
Can you pull it up on?
Yeah. The site itself?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And it has a full list. So it's just a little information on schema.org. Like I said, this is sponsored by Google Yandex, Microsoft. But you can go over here to schemas, and if you go to the full list of types shown on the page, you can see this is all of the schemas basically that they support. So basically what these are is, for different industries, different products, people, places, things. It has different properties that are available on all of those. So it doesn't necessarily have to be person does a thing, it could be an action. You can see this is specific to a mobile application or a TV season, a TV series. There's all sorts of things that show you how to market your pages. In general, it's a great thing to have. It's just having it doesn't automatically mean better rankings, but it does certainly help. It's certainly giving search engines more information, more trust, and all the things they need for your site to improve those types of things.
So I've seen search boxes in search results where,
Yeah.
how does that work?
I'm trying to remember. I think that's
In the actual listing,
To search that individual
you can.
site.
Yeah.
if you would look for Amazon, you Google for Amazon, then the listing of Amazon might show the search box that you can.
I've seen that many times.
Yep.
Right.
That's.
YouTube,
Yeah, I believe that's up to Google's discretion. That's a here you go, pat on the back type. Check this out. I think. Find that nice stuff. I got it. It just came. So yeah.
with all the stuff you showed, can you talk a minute about how they work together or not work together?
As far as compatibility, or
Just can you put the Yoast, Google Analytics, and the all-in-one schema all on the same site?
yeah, I don't know if I've tried putting both the Yoast SEO and the all-in-one SEO on the same. I don't know why you would, but just.
Well, the all-in-one schema is
Right.
different,
Right, yeah, the all-in-one schema, you can install that with both. Like I said, this test site here, this has the all-in-one SEO pack, it has the Google Analytics, Monster Insights, and also has the it's all installed in there. And also one thing I should mention is a great thing that both the all-in-one SEO pack and Yoast SEO have is the ability to import each other's data. So if you're with one and you're like, I kind of want to switch over or anything like that, you can import your data that you've worked on for all those pages into the other one.
Yeah, is there a app that allows Google to extrapolate the metadata from images? So then you can use that, so that data can be used for the crawlers?
Do you just mean the total metadata from the images?
Well, whatever metadata you want to share, obviously.
In general, specific to that, I'm not sure.
Or like location, or
I see what
time, or,
not that I've used. I'm sure there are, but I don't know that any of that I would recommend.
would that make sense?
For SEO purposes,
Yes.
possibly. I admit that's one I haven't looked into as far as.
I'm a photographer, so my site is very heavily populated with images.
I would recommend a couple things relative to images. There's, I think it's called WP Smush It, I believe, which compresses images. Site speed is big for SEO, so if you have a lot of huge images on your site,
No, I keep them small.
okay, that's important to keep the load time down. And then also making sure that you put in alt text, assign an alt text to all those images. That's important for SEO.
Right.
Smush It, I believe, will strip out a lot of the metadata. That's part of the way it reduces. So for a normal person, that would be good. For a photographer who wants that full metadata in there, that's probably not what you want to do.
Right.
And I believe Google Images uses the metadata, even if the Google search doesn't.
Good to know, so don't do that. Sorry, yeah?
Sorry, what was the name of the plugin that you mentioned before site speed? It was WP something in reference to?
Well, that's what you just, it might not, it might strip some
I've
metadata
used
from your.
Insanity, which of course I got from a WordPress camp, which I don't think takes out the metadata, it just compresses.
Insanity?
Insanity. like
Insanity.
Insanity with an M.
Actually, a lot of galleries pull the metadata out of the images and you can put them in tag. So that's how you use them for SEO. So you could just tag images and then, pull up it, pick that up, pull up the reference and the page.
That's good. And also, earlier when we were talking about podcasting, on that note, pulling out actually doing the transcripts of your podcasts or your videos is also a great SEO tip. Specific to plugins, if anyone's familiar, I'm not sure, that do transcription.
What is the best way to learn all this? Go through it sequentially, the way you presented it, get one under control, and then do the next one. YouTube videos, have you written a book yet? Done a podcast?
Not yet.
A video perhaps?
Working on something. As far as resources, Moz, MOZ, has an awesome resource section. They have all sorts of things on keyword research, on how to write title tag in the most ideal way, meta descriptions. Most SEO information you can probably find on Moz. They also have a really active community where you can ask questions, knowledge base. Definitely a great resource right there. Moz is a site, Moz.com. It used to be SEOmoz.org.
Yeah, you use it through WordPress.
I don't know if Moz has a plugin. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's used.
Actually, Yoast has pretty good books, they're pretty cheap, and they're an incredible blog about all of this.
Yeah, I've seen the blog and I haven't read the books, but yeah, Yoast in general has some good resources too.
I have another question, but just a quick clarification.
Mhm.
Schema.org and one something or other schema.org plugin are two different things.
Yes, yes. The all-in-one schema.org rich snippets
Right.
plugin
Okay.
uses schema.org as their vocabulary of choice for how they mark up your products or your events, and that type of thing.
Okay, thanks. And then, can you talk, my question was specifically about Yoast, but it would apply to the schema plugin as well. When you were walking us through Yoast, I think we looked at both some page level stuff and some site level stuff.
Yes.
Is that right? And are there any tools for aggregating and controlling what you've done at the page level, so that if somebody has put, no follow and no index, do you have some way of seeing that?
Of
What's
knowing if someone,
similarly
yeah,
to structured data?
I don't know, did they show you, I know it shows you the title and the description. So this one on the test site shows you the title and the description. This is for all-in-one. Oh. So, and I'll just check real quick on Yoast, I'm not sure either. As far as indexing and no indexing, I'm not quite sure if they've done it at the page level. No, this just gives you your SEO score. Oh. Oh, sorry. But yeah, so yeah, this Yoast would also show you that each page's SEO title, SEO description, and a focus keyword that you might have entered, but they don't show you if someone's clicked on the no index or the no follow. Like I said though, they do have the setting to remove that functionality from certain users. But yeah, and then also in the summary, the comparison table that I showed here, where I mentioned robots.txt, that's another file that you basically use to block off entire sections of the site. So if you want to control that, and you want to block off an entire category, an entire section of that, you can specify that in markup.txt.
You included yourself and you had your description and your picture. Can you walk us through how you do that? Or what was the deployment?
I'm trying to remember everything I did. Basically, they need a few trusted sources. I think it was something called Freebase. But I said it's basically, I don't know how to describe it. Just a data source where I put in some entries about myself. And then I think on my own website, I did, on my bio page, I did that same as tag, that referenced that, and then that thing, all sorts of just cross-referencing. But there's some posts on how to do that type of thing.
So just go with
Yeah, but yeah, it basically, you just need access to a few different sites, fill out some database stuff on yourself, and wait a little while. And it'll be nice and extra nerdy. Yeah.
Oh, the stars that came up on the search engine, did you say that was from Amazon? Or where did those ratings come from?
That's part of the rich snippets. So over here, like Woocommerce. So if I were to switch this over to a product, here's a rating here, and then also users on the actual product page. If they go down here and they want to add a review, basically people that are using the site and adding reviews. So if they add a review down here and write something, by default, this plugin adds the markup needed around that review, around that rating, and that also gets generated into rich snippets. So these plugins add that code that's needed, and then Google parses it out. And they add the stars.
Was the rich snippet plugin or WooCommerce?
This, Woocommerce does that by default. I did it with, for this product page, I filled out both of the rich snippets information the rich snippets plugin information, and just the general WooCommerce things.
Okay.
And the rich snippets didn't do anything extra for a product if I had WooCommerce.
Seems like in rich snippets you could also, without using WooCommerce, you could select the reviews, make sure that shows up. Okay.
Yep. That's it. Oh, what?
I don't know. Relating to site links, you kind of talked about before, like it's Google controlled. Do you know if there's any strategies on having them show it? You know, like what I'm talking about, the site links?
Yeah. Like for a branded search. So you mean these right here?
Right.
As far as I know, the only ability for your organic listing to control that is in Search Console. I think you can tell them what not to show. I don't think you can right now, last I knew, can tell them exactly what to show. So if there's one that's popping up in that you don't like, I think you can tell them to take that out, but you can't, it's kind of up to them to decide.
Right, my question was more like, how can you influence it so that it even shows up?
Oh,
You see how it's taking up a lot of space, right?
yeah. In my experience, it's basically just been building on a strong site. I don't think it's been one single thing. Verifying everything you can, obviously in Google, so in your Search Console, tying it to, and then you have the ability between Search Console, Google Analytics, and your website to tie them all together, verify, and cross-promote, and basically ensure Google that your site is official, it's tied to all the properties, that type of thing. That definitely helps. And then Google, building on a strong domain. I mean, my site got really good traffic, and it still didn't get site links, and then sometimes even now they come and go. So.
Right, I actually saw when I built the site for somebody, I came and then like, oh great, but then like, for whatever reason, like 3 weeks later, I went back and it's all gone. And
Yeah.
It's like no way for me
Praying to the
control it.
Google God sometimes.
There is a section in the Webmaster Tools where you can request what you want there. That's not necessarily what they do, but I've had experience with the requests being honored.
Really? I've made Google requests of all kinds, and it's kind of a shot in the dark, but it's good. All right, maybe that's all. Thanks, everyone.
All right. One of the things I'll mention about image galleries and stuff, I think WordPress 4.5 has new compression built in, so you may want to check that out. Okay. Awesome. Great. I'll see you next month or Tuesday. Thanks again.
Thank you.